purpose of this project is to display SFLIGHT details, data from the SFLIGHT table into a smart form. So we would like to see this data in the form of a table inside the smartphone, so that we can get the clarity of who is flying where. These are the flight details that we have here, and these flight details needs to be displayed. A couple of flight details have to be displayed in the table format. Let's say we would like to see the data based on a particular date, or maybe if we would like to see the data based on the I mean like the flight number, flight type, or something like that. So now we are going to filter out this data based on say something like if the price is more than certain amount. Okay, so we can have any kind of restriction here, and we can see. But now what I'll do is I'll go for this carried. So if I give a particular carried a name, only that carried details have to be displayed in the output, and that should be actually printed and given to the employees, so that the flight attendants, so that they can actually do the needful and take care of the flights. So this is airline code. So let's say you want to segregate all the data from the airline code. If you give a particular airline code, that airline code data only should come in the next screen. If that's the case, what we are going to do is we're going to build a smart form for this, and we're also going to build the table for that. So let me now open a transaction code called Smartforms, and the Smartforms transaction code that we have here. Here I'm giving it as some S flight details. Create. This is like the flight details that we have here, and so we by default the main page and the main window will be there. So what we will do is we will go ahead and change the table for the sorting of the windows. So let me create a window here. Header window. So kind of we kind of sort out this windows, and we can have n number of windows. But here what we'll do is we'll go ahead and use just two windows. Later point of time we'll also add, okay, footer. Let me add one more window called footer. Right click on the page, create window, and here I'm going to go it as footer. So since we don't give any dimensions of this window, so since we don't give any dimensions of this window, it will come on the top. So we have to just change that positioning of that window. So let me pull this footer here. Let me place this and expand this. So this is the footer. Now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and now design something in the main window, which actually prints that SFLIGHT data into this main window as a table format. Now I'd like to give this header. In the header, I'll create a text here. Create text, and in the text we'll give something like this is something like header data. This is something like Bangalore International Airport. Bangalore International Airport is what we have. We can also change the font of it. And how do we change the font and how do we change the color of this text and all? We are going to see in this session. So we'll save this in this, and I'm going to click on the local object right now because I've not created the package. But just you should have been created a package, and please save it in the package. So now once it's been done, this main header window, what has to appear is decided now. And for the main window, we would like to see the data from the SFLIGHT. So let me go back to this SFLIGHT table and see how many fields are there. There are 14 fields. And if we would like to introduce all those 14 fields, that's okay. Otherwise, if we just need 3 or 4 fields or 5 fields, then we can basically go ahead and create a structure. So I'm going to create a global structure here, and I'm also going to create a global table type. A table type is equivalent to our internal table that we do in the program. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the SE11 transaction here and going to take some fields from this SFLIGHT table. Data type here is ZVA underscore SFLIGHT or ZVA underscore STFL. So this is SFLIGHT details, the structure, and create. This is a structure. Would like to go for a structure. So we have created the data elements n number of times. Now we are creating a global structure here. And when we see this, this is plus SFLIGHT structure. Now here we'll go ahead with that fields. Types. We're keeping the number of fields minimum, so it will be easy for us to go ahead and do it. Now here we need to add this fields as well. Okay, there will be errors. The reason for this error is that we have to actually maintain the currency field. In this, the currency field is like we'd like to create this as ZVA underscore STFL, the structure name, and the field name happens to be currency, which is down below. So let's say we have this and we have created the structure, and then we'll go ahead and create the internal table. That is, I'll make this as IT. Table type, say okay. This is something like so ZVA underscore STFL. So without creating a structure or without having a structure, we cannot create a table type. So just like in normally in the program also we'll create a structure, right? So we'll be creating a structure and then we'll be creating an internal table, right? So the same thing here. So we just activate this. So once it's been done, we'll go back. So we created a structure and a table type, and we have activated the table type as well. Now what we will do is we will go ahead and come back to that Smartform, and in which we would like to display the data in the table format in the main table, right? So for that we need to go to the form interfaces, go to the tables, and in the tables we need to give that parameter as something like IT SF flight IT underscore S. Okay, I would like to keep this short, and this is ZVA underscore IT. What was that? IT SF, I guess. ITFL. 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 Now this is an internal table, and where are we defining this IT underscore S internal table? In the form interface. And work area also we need to define. In the global definitions we'll create the work area. So for that we need to go to the global data, and we need to write this WA underscore S. This is the work area that we are defining here, which should be of type ZVA underscore STFL. So this is of type structure. Okay. Internal table is of type table type. Internal table is of type table type, and global data is of work area is of type structure. These are the things that we have here. We are defining our internal table in the form interface, and we are defining the work area in the global definition. Please remember that. And now we are going to make use of that here. So in the footer I'd like to create another text, wherein we'll write something like terms and conditions. So I just wrote here terms and conditions apply. So when I say terms and conditions apply, that text will be visible, stored here. But for the main window, we'd like to create a table. So I'll right click on this and create a table. And the moment I create a table, please remember that a table will consist of header, main area, and footer. Header will have the headings, main area will have the data, and footer can have some calculations, subtotals, totals, something like that in the table. So the moment we create a table, by default there will be three partitions that will be by default getting created: header, main area, and footer. So we'll get this here. So here we have this header. In the header we can create a header, footer, and main area. Now in this what we need to do is we need to go ahead and create partitions. In that header, main area, and footer, we need to create a partitions. So how do we create the partitions is, just a second, let me reduce the size a bit. Here, and we created a table, and we will need to create lines in that. See, there is a table, and in this we have to create a columns. So before we create columns, we have to create a line type, in which we have to decide how many columns we need. So let's say we want only some 4 or 5 columns. Then we need to draw them here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Here we'll select this here. Now there are 5 partitions here. Now right click on this, insert empty line underneath. So once you create an empty line underneath, what I'll do in the line type 2 is I'll create only 2 columns. So I'm creating only 2 columns, 1 column, 2 columns. So if I assign this line type 1 to header, main area or footer, any one of them, then by default 5 columns will get created. But when I assign line type 2, it will have only 2 columns. Okay, 2 partitions. So what we'll do is, let's now assign line type 1 to header and main area, and line type 2 to footer. So let's go to the main area, right click on it and create a table line. And here in the table line, we need to select that line type 1. The moment I select line type 1, you can observe on your left that we have got 5 cells created. The reason for 5 cells is because we have done the 5 partitions here. Main area also we will go for the line type 1 only. We'll go for line type 1, and in that we will go for again line type 1 only. So it will also have the 5 columns. But for footer we don't need that. For footer 2 columns are enough. So create table line, and here I'm going to assign the line type 2. So when I assign line type 2 here, it will have this 2, save, syntax check. So name of the internal table, because we have not created the internal table. So okay, this columns, how the columns are getting created, you understood. But now at the table level, we need to mandatorily assign. Here we need to go for table and data. So when you go for data here, we need to give the internal table name, that is IT underscore S into WA underscore S. So when you create a table, it becomes mandatory for us to give the internal table name and work area name. And then in the sorting, we have to sort it based on a particular key field. We have to sort the data based on key field, because when we give the selection criteria, the data should work according to that. So we'll go ahead with the field name as carried. And the next one would be okay. So here I'll go for carried again. This is on the sort. So we are basically sorting the table before and after this, the table content. So why we are sorting is because just in case if the sorting is not done, maybe the selection might not done properly. So this is just for precaution. That's it. So we are just doing this carried. We're sorting based on the carried before the main area and after the main area. That's it. So just save it. Now comes the most important thing, that we have to fill the data in that. See, the main area. In the main area, we have these cells, and header also will have these cells. So in the header cells, we need to decide what should come. So in the header, we should get the text. Obviously, we have to get the text. So we'll go for text, and in the text, what we will design is, we'll see what exactly is the name of that field. The name of the field is airline code. So I'd like to see that as airline code here. So we will write that airline code here. So we are directly writing the text. Now for the cell 2 also, I'll create a text here, and in the text I'm going to create again the next value. So the next value happens to be CONNECT and CONNECT flight connection number. So we'll go for flight connection number. Flight number. We'll go for column 3, right click, create text. So the third field would be flight date. Date of flight. You can write anything. Now I'll go for right click on this, create text. In this, I'm writing the text as cost. And in the fifth one, right click on it, create text. This is currency. So these are going to be the headings of that particular columns. Now what we'll do here is, we'll go to the main area, right click on the first one, create text. Now here we just have to write and WA underscore S hyphen and that field value. So you don't have to worry about what should be the technical name. All that you have to do is you just have to click on this field list on off, and when you click on this field list on off, you are going to see this import parameters, export parameters, tables and global data. Since we have created the work area in the global data, you need to come here and in that work area expand the work area. So when you expand the work area here, you can see carried, CONNECT, FLDate and all. So carried is something which I would like to drag and drop into the first one. If it's not coming, then we have to do it manually. We have to go for this insert field, or we'll write in the editor. In the editor, we'll write. We have to click on the editor. You cannot write it directly there. And WA underscore S hyphen carried and. Okay, then. Yeah. Okay. Now when you come back, no, it's not. See, it should be grayed out. If it normally looks like this, it cannot. We will not get the data there. So maybe I'll write the insert field. Yeah, this is how it should come. It should be grayed out. Only if it's grayed out, you will be able to see the data. Otherwise, you will not be able to see the data in the output. So it should be graded. And how did we do that? For CONNECT, let's do for CONNECT now. So I'm going into the main area. In the main area, I'm going into the right click on the create text. And in that, I'm clicking on this insert field and I'm writing like, actually drag and drop also should work. Sometimes it doesn't work. So WA underscore S hyphen CONNECT and right click on this, create text and so let's see the field name and W underscore S hyphen FLDate and price. Price, how do we write the price here? Is like price should be coming in the next column. So right click on this next column, create text and in this I will write the price. Actually, drag and drop also should work. And w underscore s hyphen price. No, I think it should be, the name of it is not price. Yeah, price only. Okay, fine. Price. Say okay. Next is the currency. So currency should come in the next column. Right click on the column, create text, and in this we are going to do something like currency. So we'll click on this add button and we'll write this and w underscore s hyphen currency and say okay, and we're going to get this like this. So once it's been done, save. Once it's been done, we can go ahead and go for the footer. So footer, you can write something like, this, you can create a text here, and the text I'll mention it as something like page number or something like that. You can also have the you can have the subtotals and all these things, but here page number, and in the next one create text. Here we'll write the page number. So page number, how do we get the page number? By default page number is, again we'll have a system field here. So we'll get something called system fields here. In the system fields, you expand the system fields here. SFSY will be there. So if you expand the SFSY, you'll get a lot of field names. So page number can be dragged and dropped here. So otherwise what we can do is we can write it something like SFSY and SFSY hyphen page and okay, save. Save. And once it's been done, we can check the syntax here. So there are no errors here, and I'd like to activate this. So once you activate this Smartform successfully, you've got to use the program to actually get the data into an internal table, and that internal table data we are going to pass it into this form. So let's do that now. For that, I'm building the AC38 program here, and in the AC38 program, I'm going to write the select statement to get the data from all these fields, and then we're going to write the we're going to introduce this form there. So let's see how do we do that from the program point of view to get this data. So let's move on to the SC38 program. So we are done with the form layout and design, and then we'll go ahead with the program. Okay, so let's write the logic here, and I'll go for something like data it underscore s type, that table type. You don't, if you write the table type, you don't have to write the standard table of. So I'll go for zva underscore itfl. So if I go for itfl, I don't have to write the standard table of, because that is also a table type. Table type is equivalent to internal table. wa underscore s type zva underscore stfl. Now if you use the zva underscore itfl, then ITFL is something like we have this as a, internal table, and STFL is the structure we have this. Okay, so let's go ahead and now build it here. Let's go for the select options here. We'll go for parameters because we have got this as only for one carried. So P underscore carried type carried. I think for carried, the data element is something else. For carried, it's s underscore carr underscore id. So let me do that. S underscore carr underscore id, and then we'll go for select statement. For select statement, we need to get the fields from the structure. So the structure has these fields: carried, coordinate, April date, price, and currency. That's it. From SFLIGHT into table it underscore s, where carried equal to p underscore carried, whatever we give in the. So till here it's pretty common. We created an internal table, work area, and if you observe in the internal table declaration, we did write the standard table of, because this right side also is a table type. Then we have the parameters, select statement and all. So we'll click on this pattern and use that function model that is generated here. The function model that gets generated here happens to be this one. Copy. So we need to click on this pattern, say OK, continue, and in this, like, we have this internal table as it underscore s. So we're basically copying the data from it underscore s. We're getting data from it underscore s, and that's it. I think we are good with this. Save, syntax check, activate. So we just pass the internal table name here. So I'll give it as AA and execute. The default printer is LP0. I'll give the LP0 and click on print preview, and we will get this data here. And we didn't actually, design the kind of a columns and all. So we are getting the data, and as I told you, in main page, if it is not completed, I mean, like, if it's not sufficient, if the first page is not sufficient, automatically the second page gets generated. So this is a first page. You can see the page number as 1, and then you will see the second page here. This is page 2. So that's a page 1 and this is a page 2. So what we have done here is the basic one, the basic output that we are getting here, and you can see that there are 2 pages that got printed, and as we discussed earlier, the main page data is going to extend automatically to a next page until the complete data is printed. And now if you see here, there might be a challenge to print this cost because it's coming in the next line because the space is not sufficient in the first line. That's the reason. And let's write the border lines. Let's draw the border lines here, and we will also have the font increased. Now how do we increase the font? We increase the font based on the styles, so we have to create the styles here. So we need to create a styles here. So let's go ahead and create styles, and let's design the font and style. Let's do that now. So for that we need to go ahead and go to the Smartforms transaction again. Back. This is a Smartforms transaction. Back to the main screen. So we have this as styles. Let's go to the styles and create ZVA underscore S1 style 1. Create. So we'll go ahead and create the styles here. In this we'll go ahead with the paragraph format. Right click on the paragraph format, create node, and in that I'm creating the paragraph format as P1. It's mandatory for us to create a paragraph format. So this is para 1, and in the font we need to decide which font we want and what style we want. So I'll go for a simple one, like say something like Korea, and the size I'd give it as something around 30, and the font I'll give it as bold, and color I would like to change the color to blue color. I've done all these changes here, and now we need to go to the header data, and in the header data all that we need to do is we need to give the paragraph format that we have created here in the down below, and save and activate. So once we activate this paragraph format, wherever we give this paragraph format, that will appear in that font. So I'll go to the form now, and we would like to see the header data in this font, the 30, the size as 30 and all. Now we'll go to the paragraph formats. In the page, we'll go for the header, and in the header, we'll have this text. So here we'll have the output options for the header. Now text, so output options in the text, and here you will find the style. So I'm going to give the style that we created there, say enter and activate. So whatever style that we created there will appear for only for this text. You can also assign it to the entire page as well. So in the entire page also we'll be having this option of going ahead with the one particular font. Fine, but here we are doing it particularly for a particular text here, and we have maintained the in the output options of the text we created this. Now this is for the that font. Let's go and execute it now. I'll go for AA only and execute it, and the output default output printer is LP01 print preview, and you can see that it's coming in the blue color, but I guess length 30, size 30 has not been saved there. Let me check that. The length might have not. Paragraph format P1 font length 30 is still very small. Maybe I'll give it as something like length as Maybe length 50 is not supported here because there will be only few lengths that will be supported. Size, basically I'll tell something like 60. Okay, let's see that now. Now I'll come back here. Still didn't reflect back here. Let me come completely out and then execute. Let's see. Maybe I'll change the font to something else. Instead of Korean, I'll make this something else. I'll go for something like Times Roman Times. I'll go for Times. Because in some fonts it actually does not increase that size. Let's see it now. I've changed into Arial now. Times, sorry. So times it's increasing the size. This is the size that we have. If you can see that it's the font is in times font and blue color, and also the size is also big. We can even increase the size more than that. So this is about all about the styles. Let's see the text now, standard text. And also we also plan to draw the lines here. Let's see how to do that. So to draw the lines, we need to go back to the smart form, and in the smart form we have something called, okay, we'll go to the forms here. Let's draw the lines. In the table, select pattern, click on display frame patterns, and I'm changing it to the frame pattern. And in the frame pattern, I'll go with something like this pattern. So you can select whatever pattern it fits your requirement. This is activated. Let's go and run the program now. You can see that we have now the frames been built. You can see the frames. You can actually make this center aligned as well. So if you see, this is coming very at the corner. So if you want to make it center aligned, we can also make it a center aligned by going ahead and selecting that font format. So now the terms and conditions might have some 100 lines of terms and conditions, which we every time cannot type. Even if we type, we should not have a single error like full stop, dot, comma. Anything should not be changing. So you can standardize them and keep them as a standard text, and you can add them here as a text module. Then how do we do that is what we'll see now. So for going ahead with the text modules, we need to come back to this main screen of the Smartforms text module, and this text modules and styles which we are using here can be used even in the Adobe forms or the PDF forms as well. Same process will be. So there also we have to come to the Smartforms transaction only, and then we have to maintain this. I'll go for T1 and click on create. This is text. So we can create some standard text here. Say something like, so what we are doing is we are creating a text module here and typing whatever text we want. We are typing it here. And once we type the text here, you can actually save this, and once we are back, we'll go ahead with the form. In the form, for that text that we have here, the footer, in the footer, that whatever text we have, instead of going ahead and typing the text here, what we can do is we can go ahead with, okay, so in the text we'll have, instead of text elements, we'll have text module. And in the text module we need to maintain that text name that we have given, that text module. The text module name is this one, zva underscore t1. Say okay, copy, and then once it's been done, activate. So whatever text we have maintained here will be appearing in the actual smart form layout, in the output form output. So we've got this data. It's missing here. Just a second. I think something is not activated. The text module that we have done here. Maybe is not saved. So here we need to give that text module name. So we'll go for ZVA star and select from the drop down. ZVA underscore T1 is the one. Language, let's give the language as EN. Say OK, activate. The text we are able to see here is actually something which we have got it from the text module. So now we have seen various options, and one most important option that we have here is to display the logo or image. If you would like to display some image or logo here, how do we do that? So for that we need to upload the image as a graphic and keep it there, keep it here. This is what we are going to do now. We're going to add the image. So once we add the image, we'll conclude this project here. So for that, we need to go into a transaction code called SE78. So in SE78, if you want to upload the image, it needs to be already present in your local drive in what do you call in the .bmp format. So let me open the local drive and create a image. Let me quickly create an image. So I'll create an image here. So we'll go ahead with maybe I'll go with blue color, and then we'll go ahead with So we'll go ahead with, this is the image. So I'll save this as, save as, we'll go with save as. So in this we'll go for save as, and in the save as we'll go ahead with .bmp. It's very mandatory that we have to save it in .bmp, otherwise we cannot use it. So I'm selecting it in the on the desktop. So save it. And once you save this in the bitmap image, whatever image you would like to save, if you save it in a bitmap image, then what we have to do is, now in the graphic, this is a SE78 transaction, remember that it's SE78 transaction. I double clicked on the bitmap image, selected this color bitmap image, and then we need to go for this upload import. So in the import we need to browse that file name. The file name is file is there in the desktop, so you can see only the bitmap images here, nothing else. And then we have to go for say I'm giving that name of that is Vikram, and then we have to go for this, say okay. And once it's been done, the name of the image is Vikram now. Okay, and we can go back and use this into our program. Let's see how to use that. First we need to go to the go to our form, and in the form we need to create another window. Right click, create graphic. So the moment you select graphic, it will ask you for the name. So I will give it as VIKR star. Let me check if it is already there. So the color bitmap image is what we need to select and say OK. And once it's been done, you can see this image that we have selected here, and we just have to you have to position it. So let's position the graphic here. Let's position the graphic just so we have this graph here. Increase the size and edit it. And this is the image. I'm going to move it to the right. Yeah, this is the image. Actually the image is coming in a very big size. So what I'll do is I'll go for the resolution. The more you increase the resolution, the smaller the image will become. So I've given the image resolution as 300 so that it will be reduced, and I can keep it here. Now I kept the image here, and then activate. So once you activate this and execute this program, you will get this. You will get the output, and you can see that image here in the output. And you can see the image here, and whatever we design in the image will be appearing, and whatever position we want to have it, we can change. These are some of the very important concepts, and we have a lot of things, small things that we have to discuss, but this is what I want to discuss. This is a very important project which we need to do hands-on, and then we'll get clarity.